Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of The Serpent, episode 4. We're about halfway through the series now with this episode. There's another 4 left. So, episode 4. This episode has quite a lot to unpack in the space of just under an hour. First of all, Nadine has re-encountered Charles Sobergy and his accomplices, as seen at the end of the last episode. But as far as we, the audience, know, they don't seem to be that much wiser to Nadine and her husband being involved with Herman and his investigations. At least that's what we're suspect to believe. However, the end of the episode may make us believe that perhaps they've caught on to them, perhaps. And that's what's tying us into episode 5. Not sure yet. When we get to episode 5, we will see what happens. Most of the episode focuses on Charles and company in Nepal, where they're going on a bit of a holiday, and eventually Charles loses a lot of money, which Marie's unhappy about, and then she threatens to leave because she can't go ahead with more murders and more robbery and more everything that they've been doing up until that point. Eventually, she relents and remains with them. Meanwhile, AJ also has a couple of emotional moments as he's rejected from staying at the same hotel as them, and then he goes out and gets a girlfriend for a few nights. Or at least meets a girl he likes and has a bit of a... I suppose I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was a drug-induced state one night, and he ends up sleeping with her. However, Charles is pissed that he's gone and done this. He's pissed that AJ, or Ajax, or whatever the other accomplice's name, went out and partied and got drugged. Not got drugged. Took some drugs and then slept with this girl he met and liked, and punishes him by pushing down on his eyes. The reason Charles does this is because he believes the white people coming from the West to just be getting involved with the situations in the Eastern countries as kind of like trophies and experiencing all stuff, but just so that they can show that they've gone and experienced everything, as opposed to actually living that life. And he finds it disgusting. I'm not entirely sure how he put it. It was about halfway through the episode or so. But his statement is counterproductive because he's got himself a white girlfriend from a Western country, Canada to be precise. And he's having a go at AJ for getting a girlfriend from a Western country, a white girlfriend from a Western country, whilst Charles himself has one. Kind of counterproductive, Charles. You've got yourself a girlfriend waiting for you back at home. Well, I say waiting for you, sleeping. And now you're having a go at AJ for more or less having a one-night stand with this girl. Well, it was a one-night stand because he forced him not to see her again. I don't have a problem with this scene or its inclusion in the episode. I'm just saying that Charles was very pot kettle black in the situation, having a go at AJ for getting a girlfriend when he's got himself one back at the hotel. As I was saying, most of the episode does take place in Nepal, and we follow the trio of poisoners, robbers, and murderers. And they eventually, Marie befriends a backpacking pair, I believe from Britain, because they're on a bus from London to Nepal, and also AJ's girlfriend was another one of these people on that bus. So Marie befriends a British couple, and she takes them to Charles as they have rubies. And then Charles and AJ then take them up to the mountains and kill them, and then sell their rubies so that they can get the money. However, the woman that AJ had dated comes in to identify the bodies, and then she is asked to identify whether Charles and Marie were the people she saw get into the car with them. Whether them actually being the ones that the backpacking couple did get into the car with makes her frightened, or she's too distraught about what's going on, means that they get away scot-free. That's what she really wasn't certain. So Charles and Marie and AJ then go on a killing and poisoning and robbing spree throughout India and Hong Kong in the last 5 episodes. All this time, Herman is still preparing his evidence. He's sort of getting in trouble with his boss around halfway through the episode, but then he passes on his information to the police, which leads them to about to raid the hotel where Charles has his headquarters from in Bangkok, and they're going to go and raid that. However, as mentioned, Nadine and her husband are not seen in the final scene of the episode. So when Herman tries to telephone them to get out before the raid happens, they are not there. So could it be possible that Charles has found out? The description to episode 5 says that Charles is one step ahead of the police as they raid the hotel. So something nasty might have happened to them, or maybe they managed to get out, or maybe they just weren't there and didn't get the message, but they're still okay. Not sure yet. We'll find out with episode 5 next week. But until then, more about episode 4. Now, this episode has some interesting moments where we up some of the character emotions. Marie more or less snaps in this episode for a bit. I mean, she doesn't go down this attempting to leave Charles' route for very long. She snaps. They have a bit of an argument, and then they sort of make up, and then they're back together, and she's enjoying it again, especially once we get to the last 5 minutes and the spree across India and Hong Kong. I also like how we see some more emotional side to AJ, with him being pissed off that he's not allowed to stay in the same hotel, and him getting a girlfriend, and also slightly being uncertain about actually committing the murders towards the end of the episode. He ends up killing the woman whilst Charles kills the man just beforehand, and I like how at the start of the episode that a local boy found the bodies before reporting it to the police, and then they asked the other girl that AJ was dating to come in and identify the charred remains of the burnt bodies. And also Herman realizes that they had killed people in Nepal due to the murdered victims in Nepal put on the newspaper, and a cigarette, not a cigarette, a match, not box packet, a match packet coming from the hotel that was found in Charles's room back in Bangkok. So there's some nice tie-ins into parts of this episode, and also the end of the spree in the last 5 minutes kind of shows the trio back in Hong Kong, where they'll eventually meet Nadine at the telegraph station. I was expecting a shot of what was it, Dominique? Yeah, Dominic is at the passport control trying to escape them, which would have connected into the last episode, but we didn't see that. But we can presume that's when it that was what was happening at that point in time, that they were back just as he was escaping in the last episode. So this episode has some great stuff going for it, and there was quite a bit in this episode, especially in the Nepal stuff, and I thought it was all handled really well and was pretty great. I think the last episode was better and more of a tension building and a more emotional story level, as we were following this one guy who was trapped by Charles and company whilst Nadine and her husband were telling the story. But I think this one does a brilliant job in telling the next stage of that story. It follows up from the end of the last episode pretty well, and it's setting the stage for the next one incredibly well as well. So I'll be giving The Serpent episode 4. I was about to give it a 9 out of 10, but considering it did such a great job with what it had to do, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I seem to be easily impressed with this series. I mean, the first one was a bit of a slow setup episode, but I still liked it. And episode 2 had some of that same similar issues, but was a bit more of a character-driven one. And then episodes 3 and 4 were just brilliant. 3 on an emotional scale, 4 was great on telling the event story. And the whole back-and-forth thing in the editing, going to time, changing things, I've gotten used to it now. And like with episode 3, it's used pretty effectively. So that's episode 4. I thought it was really great. Oh, there was also this weird bit with AJ and the his girlfriend where I guess they were having drugs, but it was very weird. I wasn't sure what to make of it until I thought, oh, is it trying to reflect the fact that they're on drugs? It's his first time, so AJ's first time, so yeah, it's going to look a bit awkward and a bit weird. At the same time, Charles and Maria are trying to test her faithfulness. And I suppose Charles is wondering whether he should kill her or not, but maybe he does genuinely love her. So he decides not to, in a similar way that her genuinely loving him means that she's not going to leave, as we see in the second half of the episode. So that is episode 4 of The Serpent. Stay tuned till next time for episode 5. Before we end the video, a few updates. First of all, I have reviewed the entirety of the 2020 Black Narcissus miniseries. The review of episode 1, if it hasn't gone up already yet, it will be out soon. And then episodes 2 and 3 and the ranking will follow shortly after that. I am going to also check out the 1947 film, which I will review for the Nicholas Payne Retro channel, and that should come out a few days later after the miniseries has come out. And I will be resuming my Doctor Who reviews soon with The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar in Series 9. That's about it for video updates. Thank you for watching this review of The Serpent. I'll see you guys next time for episode 5 of The Serpent, or whatever else comes next. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the Nicholas Payne YouTube channel. We also, most of the episode, she eventually softened. It kind of makes Charles a bit, what's the word? Well, the word I'm trying to describe is Charles. The way I'm trying to describe the word is that Charles has gotten in, as opposed to actually being. So if you want to go and check that out, go check it out. But yeah, he's a bit pissed. But to be honest, it's I suppose it's counterproductive because he's got him. But it's a bit of a counterproduction ideology. I don't have a problem with this in the sea, who accompanies him around the world, well, part of Asia at least, who accompanies him and helps him with his deeds. And eventually, she and Charles, they are suspected of. They are, however, when. Fuck. I was hoping to get to the end of the sentence before doing that. So, or maybe they managed to just get out and they just didn't get the message, but who knows? This time he ends up killing the girl whilst Charles takes on the man. And also the murders in Nepal newspaper thing gets found. So that is some nice. So these are. I was half expecting a shot. No, really here in the ranking. And then episodes 3 and 4. 3 on a more emotional scale. 4 was great on a story. And those reviews shall be following this review if I put it up sooner. Maybe episode 1 is already gonna. And the review. And then episodes 2 and 3 will follow in the next following days with the ranking shortly after. And then episodes 2. That's about it for updates. Don't forget to tune. That's about it for updates. But if you only care about The Serpent or BBC drama,